Hey guys, Hybrid here. After the kind of awesome response I got for my Amazing Spider-Man kind of story outline, I thought I would do my Fantastic Four reboot story outline. Now, I originally published this, at least written version, on comicbookmovie.com literally 1 year ago as of me recording this. So, August 3rd, 2012, I originally published an article titled how Marvel or Fox can make a Fantastic Four film franchise. It's a six-picture story outline. I I went pretty in depth originally, but for the sake of this video, because I recorded this one time before, and it was at least half an hour long. I don't want to do that again because I don't want people to like quit in the middle of the video or just skip ahead to parts because they want to know like what else, like just get the general idea. So I'm gonna try synopsising each movie as best as I can. Bear with me here. So let's begin. First movie, appropriately titled The Fantastic Four. They are explorers, scientists, innovators, inventors, etc. Basically, I kind of gloss over the whole hit by an unknown type of cosmic rays, radiation type of thing. I gloss over it like in the Incredible Hulk film because I really want to get to the fact that this is a family of explorers that just happen to have superhuman abilities. Like that's the core of my movie here. So, anyways, the main villain is Doctor Doom behind the scenes. He's manipulating Mole Man. Now, just to give you a bit of characterization to a degree, Reed Richards, same Reed Richards we all know, the super genius one. Sue Storm, also scientist as well. They're both the brainy ones. Now we got Ben Grimm. I picture him because of his piloting background. I picture him more as someone who just now is getting into like aeronautics, things like that, so he can kind of understand how the whole flying the plane works on a physics level. So he already knows how to fly it inside, but now he wants to know what's happening outside, type of thing. So that's I'm trying to go like each character has their own kind of sciencey thing to them. And also for Johnny Storm, I picture him more as a mechanic slash maybe he's thinking about mechanical engineering type of field, things like that, because of how much he loves working on his car or in a motorcycle, other vehicle, things like that. So just a little bit of character right there for everybody, so you get a good idea of how I picture these characters. If you disagree with me, that's fine. That's just how me personally would write these characters. So, anyways, like I said, they're explorers. They're scientists first off, then explorers, even though it kind of goes hand in hand together. And basically what's happening is they're not superheroes, or at least not yet. And the Mole Man causes a bunch of tremors underground, messing with tectonic plates, which isn't good because it causes like tsunamis, things like that. So the Fantastic Four go to investigate what's happening, run the Mole Man. We have that fight, kind of a homage to the original Fantastic Four comic with the Mole Man. And we learn from there that Doctor Doom, like he's not gonna flat out say this until later on in his movie, but he's really using Mole Man to see how the fan, because they're relatively new here. This is like a year or so after they got their powers, so they're still relatively new to their powers. But Doctor Doom is really trying to figure out limitations of the team, what they can and cannot do, how they work together, things like that, before obviously he formulates his attack. Because right now he has a unknown history with the Fantastic Four that we don't know about as of now. So they defeat Mole Man, and obviously news reporters, media, etc., they want to paint them as these superheroes, but the Fantastic Four are quick to say, we are just scientists and explorers that happen to have superhuman abilities. We saw that he needed to be stopped, and we stopped him. We are not trying to be heroes, that is for like the police, things like that. We're just scientists. So that's where we're leaving it at there. Now, Fantastic Four number 2, the Submariner. That's the subtitle there. And we start off, this is a few months later. Namor is king of Atlantis, obviously, and he's coming to that part of his, his kingship where he's looking for a queen. But the problem is that he's a human Atlantean hybrid, thus somewhat of an outcast. Like, sure, the Atlanteans respect him because he's their king, but at the same time, they're like, none of the women really want to be with him per se, which he kind of hates, and kind of, because of that, he doesn't really want to be with an Atlantean woman. And due to the subterranean tremors before, because remember, Atlantis is underwater, so those subterranean tremors obviously got his attention as the king of an underwater realm like Atlantis. So, with that being said, due to the events of the first film, he gets interested in human activities. Now, this was all planned by Doctor Doom, by the way. He wanted Namor to get involved somehow, because with Namor, he knows, like I'm saying, this Doctor Doom is very, very smart, very, very manipulative. So he wants Namor to come to the surface world, and Namor does come to the surface world because he's interested in what's going on in the surface world, to where they would be doing something that would, mess with Atlantis. Like, even though the surface world might not know they're messing with Atlantis, still at the same time, those subterranean tremors just don't happen out of the blue. Or they don't happen naturally, it happens out of the blue, and it requires pretty advanced technology to do that. So he wants to make sure, obviously, that the surface dwellers aren't too advanced, because that could pose a threat to Atlantis. So once he goes to the surface world, Doctor Doom, like I said, he was manipulating Namor the whole time, and he runs into Namor, or not runs into, but he finds Namor when Namor goes to the surface world and manipulates him some more, because obviously he knows Namor is looking for a queen. And with that being said, he starts talking about Sue Storm, Fantastic Four. He talks about how they defeated the Mole Man, and how Sue Storm is this exquisite creature, and like she's so powerful and all that stuff. Things that would attract Namor, because Namor is the one Atlantean female, because they all don't really trust him, and he in return really hates them. But at the same time, he's still their ruler, and it's kind of a respectful thing. So anyways, Namor goes to the Fantastic Four to court Sue Storm, essentially. Or not really court, but basically to say, hey, you're going to be my wife. You're coming to Atlantis with me. That obviously doesn't go well with the Fantastic Four, and a battle happens. Eventually Namor decides, or he's defeated, but he decides that this isn't worth it. Obviously Sue Storm isn't worth, all this trouble. And he goes back to Atlantis, still unwifed, but that's over. Obviously, the fight causes more Atlanteans to come to the surface world. We get a battle there. Military gets involved because it's Namor, Atlantis, army, things like that. And essentially, this makes the Fantastic Four even more popular worldwide. They're seen even more now as heroes, even though they don't want to be known as heroes, but they're still seen as heroes. And because of that, they are, nicknamed the Fantastic Four. They are given, all these nicknames, things like that. Because before they're just scientists. They don't call each other Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, things like that. But now they have all these nicknames, and people are calling them superheroes, even though they're like, no, we're scientists. And they try explaining it, but the media always twists everything around. And I have a little epilogue at the end of my second movie where we have the Skrulls, because obviously they get, the attention from the media on Earth, because other aliens obviously are paying attention to Earth as they have superhumans popping up. And for some reason the Skrulls happen to be there, and the Skrulls are now interested on Earth, and they start studying Earth. And that's where the epilogue ends. Third movie, appropriately subtitled Doom. So since the Namor incident, this is like a year later, Reed and Sue Storm are now married, like a year or 2 years. And Ben's the best man, and at this part of the film, beginning of the film, Sue is revealed to be pregnant. Now, Doctor Doom doesn't know about this, obviously, but after the whole thing with Namor, he decides to take matters into his own hands. Now, using his sorcery skills and magic, like in the comics, he's able to, like he did infamously in one of the comics that I'm getting inspired by for this movie's plot to a degree, he switches minds with Reed Richards, and vice versa. So the next morning, after that happens, Reed wakes up in Doom's body, Doom wakes up in Reed's body. Here we get a lot of character history between Reed and Doom that we didn't get in the previous movies. We learn about their relationship, how they are roommates, both studying, theoretical physics, particle physics, etc., science basically in general. And we learn about this machine that they're working on that theoretically could open barriers in between dimensions. But the problem is that Reed doesn't think it's ethical to do that, as he could put the world at threat if something on the other side of the dimension basically is a hostile force or hostile anything. So he stops helping Doom, and without Reed's help, he can't finish it. So basically, we learn that Doom's plan all along was to break into the Baxter building in Reed's body and take the files he thinks would be necessary to help him complete it. And we learn the reason why he wants to build this device is because he wants to rescue his mother from hell. Because, like in the comics, his mother is in hell. He wants to get his mother from hell, but Reed is a man of science, not a man of faith or religion, so he doesn't believe in hell. Like, he believes a dimension might exist similar to hell, but he doesn't believe in hell, so he doesn't think that that's possible what Doom's thinking about. He's basically saying it's a lost cause. We can't revive the dead. So throughout all this, Reed in Doom's body is struggling to basically reverse what happened because, like I said, he's a man of science, so he can't do magic. But eventually, and by the way, this movie takes place on the course of a few months, so Reed is pregnant during, or not Reed, Sue is pregnant during this time. And anyways, eventually Reed gets over himself about the whole science religion thing, or science magic thing, and he is able to do magic. Now, the way I portray magic is that it's a very difficult thing to do. It takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of practice and skill. So, even though after months of studying magic, Reed is only able to do so much. And because of that, he has to be in close range to Doom to do the Mind Switch back again, because he learns the spell to do it, he knows what he needs to do, but he's not powerful enough to do it over a long distance. So, Reed, and luckily Doom's body is, well, adept to magic. That's another thing you need. Your body needs to be adept to magic. Luckily with Doom's background, the whole gypsy thing, all that stuff, his body is able to well conduct magic. But Reed's body obviously is not. So that's going to come into play later. When Reed in Doom's body goes to the Baxter building, they get into a fight. It poses an issue for Dr. Doom in Reed's body because he wants to use magic against Reed, who's starting to use magic against him, but he can't because Reed's body isn't made for that, if you get what I'm saying. Like, it naturally just, he's never done magic before. Reed's body has never conducted magic before, so to try doing powerful magic on his first time, it just isn't happening. So with that disadvantage on Doom, Reed's able to switch bodies, and everything is fixed. Doom is defeated, the machine gets destroyed, and Doom has to go back to his country of Latveria, where, obviously he's like, I'm gonna get revenge eventually, but, he's just distraught that he can never bring his mother back now. And we end the film with Sue Storm giving birth to their baby, which is appropriately named Franklin. Fourth movie, subtitled Invasion. So a few years after Doom attacked the Fantastic Four, 6 years actually after, the Fantastic Four are back to the whole exploration thing and the science aspects of them again. They're explorers, essentially. They're scientists. They want to go back to their roots. So while working on a device to detect a type of energy source that it seems Franklin is starting to radiate, because if you don't know, Franklin is a very powerful mutant in the Marvel Universe. And Franklin, ever since he was born, he's been giving off this unique type of radiation, which Reed believes is the same type that they were exposed to originally that gave them their abilities. So while tracking relatively unknown energy sources throughout Franklin, his device picks up another unknown energy source, and when he scouts out for that, it comes upon his mailman, which oddly enough was his mailman since the Namor incident, named Willie Lumpkin. Now he's radiating an odd form of energy, and when Reed questions Willie about it, he attacks Reed, revealing himself to be a Skrull. So this is where we get the whole Skrull invasion stuff get started. So after this, Reed gets the team together, tells them about what's going on. They use the machine on a wider scale, and they learn just within the eastern seaboard, basically, of the United States alone, there are millions of people that are really Skrulls. Now, with this, they bring Franklin to a safe place. I'm not going to go into what that safe place is right now, but they find the Skrull mothership after searching for it, because they obviously deem that they're an extraterrestrial, figure, and they go to the ship. Once they go there, they get defeated by the Skrull's greatest warrior, the Super Skrull, and are captured, but eventually break free, and together as a team and a family, they defeat the Super Skrull. Now, I picture the Skrulls as a race of honor to some degree, so once you defeat their greatest warrior in combat, they kind of have respect for you. And with that respect, when Reed's like, what are you doing here? The Queen of the Skrulls says, we are here to witness the Devourer. and the Fantastic Four, they don't really understand what they mean by that. They just like the Devourer. What's that? And after that, the Queen of the Skrulls tell them what happened on Skrullos, the Skrulls' home planet, about this massive figure out of nowhere that just basically literally ate their planet, pretty much. Ate all of its resources to the point where the planet was not only inhabitable, but it was essentially destroyed. So with that being said, the Fantastic Four go back to Earth with the mindset, basically, that something big is coming and they need to watch out for it. Okay, so fifth movie, subtitled The Devourer of Worlds. So this is 2 years after the Skrull invasion, and nothing has happened, which is really bothering Reed, obviously, because the Skrulls were like making a big deal that this Devourer of Worlds was coming. Nothing has happened for 2 years. When randomly out of nowhere, a silver humanoid figure pops up in the atmosphere and somehow broadcasts as if telepathically, because Silver Surfer is really powerful. I'm not ignoring that at all in this movie. And he broadcasts like in every language to anybody. Basically, in your mind, whatever your main language is, that's what you hear. And he says, "The Devourer is coming," which causes worldwide panic, because that sounds horrible, And in a way, everybody knows they're basically about to all die. But at the same time, they don't even understand what's going on because it was so random. Some people were driving to the mall. Some people were sleeping. Like, nobody understands what is going on here. So Reed assumes this is this Devourer figure that the Skrulls are talking about. Because the Skrulls, they're still leaving. Not many of them are left. The mothership isn't here anymore. So they can't really contact the Skrulls because, the Skrulls are very, very far away. And with this being said, the team goes up to the silver humanoid figure, who introduces himself as Norrin Radd, the messenger of Galactus. And they're like, who is this Galactus guy? And after this, Reed questions him. He asks the correct scientific questions, obviously, like, what are you made out of? What type of energy? Because obviously he's giving off a type of radiation very similar to the type of radiation that they're trying to detect in Franklin, cosmic radiation, but it's a very unique kind, made from the power cosmic, obviously. So, with this being said, they ask Silver Surfer questions. He explains the nature of Galactus, and he explains his origin, what he's here to do, and they're like, why? Like, is there anything we can do to stop Galactus? And, this messenger guy's like, or Norrin Radd, Silver Surfer, I'm just going to call him Silver Surfer now. He says, there's nothing you can do. Galactus is all-powerful. Once I am here, he is bound to come. Your planet is doomed. And they're like, well, is there anything that could stop him at all throughout the whole universe? Anything. And Silver Surfer replies, there is only one item known in the universe that could stop Galactus' hunger. And that is aboard his ship, the Taya 2, named the Ultimate Nullifier. So there you go, fanboy service right there for all the Galactic fans and Ultimate Nullifier fans. And initially, Surfer doesn't really care. He's like Galactus is all powerful. Galactus has done this tons of times. Civilizations, worlds, they've come together before. They've thought they could fight Galactus to no avail. There is nothing you can do to stop Galactus. And with that being said, because the Silver Surfer obviously doesn't know about the Fantastic Four's different abilities. All he knows at this point is that they're a bunch of scientists, or at least humans, that are interested in Galactus and what's to come and things like that. So he's like, I don't care attitude. There's nothing you could do to stop him. I'm doing my job. Yada, yada, yada. But Reed decides that he can split the Fantastic Four into two groups. Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, with her brother Johnny, to go aboard the Taya 2 ship, and using Sue's cloaking abilities, or invisibility abilities, they can get the Ultimate Nullifier and come back to Earth with that. And at the same time, while they're doing that, Reed and Ben will find a way to distract Galactus enough. And their plan is basically to use the Silver Surfer as an instrument for kind of slowing down Galactus enough to get the Ultimate Nullifier. So with that being said, Reed starts, because Reed's a genius, and he's basically a genius on all fronts. And I'm just saying this, if the world's at stake here, I'm pretty sure playing with other beings' emotions isn't beneath him at all. So he starts playing with Norrad's emotions a little bit, and kind of because he knows obviously Norrad's humanoid, so he's thinking that maybe if we do certain things together as a family around him, he'll become sympathetic to our species, and it works with Franklin and everything. He feels a connection to Franklin, and a lot of it's due to the fact that they're both kind of basically emitting the same type of cosmic radiation, but he feels something with Franklin that doesn't feel with any other humans that reminds him of his planet, and basically he remembers the passion in him that he put out there to save his planet. With that, he agrees to help them push back Galactus, but he says he is inevitable, so I will help you stall him, basically, but he will come eventually, and there's nothing you can do about that. That's enough, though, that the Ultimate Nullifier is able to be brought back to Earth by Sue and Johnny, and faced with this, Galactus has no choice but to leave, but angered by the betrayal of the Silver Surfer, he punishes him by bounding him to Earth. The farthest he can go is like the moon at this point now. So he can't leave the Earth's area, per se, and there you go. End of that movie. So my sixth movie, I'm not going to release the title of it yet, because it's a surprise, but it's 3 years after the whole Galactus incident, and the Fantastic Four, they're going back to exploring and scientific endeavors, and Franklin's now 11, so he's starting to go through puberty as, most, beginning as, processes. But with that, his powers are also developing, so he's had some minor telekinesis, minor telepathy developing. Sue and Reed are they have no idea what else he's gonna get, and they're kind of curious because they know what their abilities are. They know what They know what Johnny's are. They obviously know what the things Ben's powers are. And actually, by this point, I'm actually really tempted to have Ben go through what he did in the Ultimate Universe, that ultimate phase where it turns out the orange form is a cocoon, and he kind of has this purple glowing aura thing going on. I always thought that was a pretty cool thing, but it's not a must at all. It's just a little thing I just kind of thought about. But anyways, while messing with what Franklin can kind of do, he kind of pushes himself and opens a portal to the negative zone. Now, Reed is smart. He doesn't want to take any chances. So first off, he gives them all standard issue suits for exploring other worlds, basically, which looks just like the Future Foundation suit. And also, they have a tracking device on him, and he makes a man-made portal back to New York, just in case anything goes wrong. Now, they go to the negative zone, and one of the creatures named Annihilus senses, the power in Franklin, and he and all of his, kind of minion creatures attack the Fantastic Four, or I guess Fantastic Five, or they attack the family. Let's call them the family. So they attack the family, and Annihilus captures Franklin. Now, Franklin gets brought back to Annihilus' lair, where essentially his powers are kind of siphoned a little bit into this object, which becomes the Cosmic Control Rod. Now, with this, Annihilus gains a lot of power, obviously, and once the family, using the trackers in their suits, get back to Franklin, they use a man-made portal to get back, but Franklin starts having kind of spaz moments out. He kind of starts spazzing out with flashes of Annihilus, what Annihilus is going to do with the Cosmic Control Rod, because obviously he's bonded to that rod to some degree, as it was made from his power. So with that being said, he knows that Annihilus is planning on opening another portal back through the portal that Reed and the family used. So obviously I have a reason why this will take place in New York, because the portal went to New York, Annihilus is following the portal, and he's going to take all the creatures he can from the negative zone with him to conquer Earth. And that will be the Annihilation Wave, by the way, just in case you guys didn't know. Now, with that new information, the Fantastic Four goes basically to every possible person they think could help them defeat Annihilus and help contain the Annihilation Wave as best as possible. So with that being said, they go to Atlantis and ask Namor and Namor's army for help. The military obviously wants to help to some degree, but they can only do so much. But the Atlanteans with Namor can do a lot more too. They go to Dr. Doom in Latveria, ask for his help. He, decides to, just like Namor decides to help, because if Earth falls, their kingdoms go with it. Now, also they go to the Silver Surfer, who agrees because at this point the Surfer sees Earth as his new home, and without Earth he really has nothing else. So, with that being said, they all go to New York, preparing for the annihilation wave to come to Earth, and a massive battle ensues. This could be a pretty cool fight scene in a film. Now, during the battle, the Human Torch is almost killed, not to the death of Johnny Storm by the annihilation wave, and Franklin just snaps. Now, with this, he starts exhibiting broad cosmic powers. Even the Silver Surfer acknowledges this. He's going to be a really powerful figure one day, even maybe more powerful than the Surfer himself, or even rivaling Galactus level power. Now, with this, he starts fighting Annihilus directly. Obviously, he beats Annihilus, overpowers him, takes the rod away, and without the Cosmic Control Rod, Annihilus is defeated, and his Annihilation Wave gets sent back to the negative zone. And Annihilus is put into, obviously, like some fancy prison. But with that being said, seeing how much they all accomplished together, Reed decides they're not just four anymore. They are more than that. And together, they could all make a better future for humanity. And I end the film with the annunciation of the Future Foundation. So that's the name of the sixth movie, Future Foundation. I hope you guys are still with me this far. The end of my sixth movie picture. This is pretty long as is, so I'm not going to say much more. If you guys liked it, comment below. I will make more story outlines for characters. Just tell me what characters. I love writing story outlines for, like, if I were to make a film. I'm kind of like, if I could, like, Max Landis is kind of like the inspiration for a lot of these videos, because he does this all the time, and he's a fantastic writer, and I love writing too, and just seeing, how much, connection you can really get your ideas out there on YouTube, like storyline outlines. It's just amazing. So I know this video is kind of long. I'm sorry about that. And yeah, see you guys later. This is Hybrid. Please subscribe, comment, and like, and peace.